was a man of the steppe. He came out of a nomadic tribe. They were accustomed to herding animals and to hunting animals. And he applied the Mongolian system of hunting to conquering nations. So the Mongols moved in a huge formation, which you call the left wing and the right wing. That helped to drive everything before him. They drove any animals who were out there, any people who were out there, and pushed them forward. And so word would come about the Mongols coming. And because it was spread out so far, it was very hard to know how many, and it just seemed immense.
Hello.
The people began to flee to the city. That's exactly what he wanted. It brought panic. It brought disease. They began to eat up the food and drink up the water. So the city was already weakened and confused by the time Genghis Khan's army actually attacked. Genghis Khan had to adapt many new tactics and new strategies because he was facing things that steppe people never faced. One was cities and walls. Genghis Khan had never seen a wall except those made out of wood. But he was so resourceful. He recognized his soldiers couldn't break down the wall. But there was a small river that fed the town. He diverted the river in order to break down the walls. Over and over, the Mongols would divert rivers all the way up to the conquest of Baghdad. They would use the rivers as their greatest ally to bring down the walls. In this way, the Mongols were able to win city after city after city.
Yeah, I'm eating rice with this.
And finally, in 1215, he defeated the Jin dynasty. He took over the city of what is now Beijing. Genghis Khan continued to conquer for the rest of his life. He became then the greatest conqueror in the history of the world. There's no one who comes close. If we look at Alexander the Great, maybe he conquered 1/3 of what Genghis Khan conquered. And the day Alexander the Great died, his entire empire died with him, as his generals carved it up. Genghis Khan conquered, and his empire lived for 150 years. His empire eventually stretched from Korea all the way to the edge of Poland. It stretched from the Arctic in the north to the Indus River in India in the south. After the death of Genghis Khan in 1227, the Mongolian Empire continued to grow for 2 more generations. He had put in motion something that could not be stopped. And it continued to grow right on through the time of his grandson, Kublai Khan, or Kublai Khan. Kublai Khan became the first emperor of China under the Yuan dynasty, the Mongol dynasty. By 1368, the whole dynasty collapsed. And the Mongols returned to Mongolia. To them, it was almost like, well, they had made camp in China for 150 years. They just packed up and went home, back to their nomadic lifestyle.
We were able to keep our language and culture because of the fact that we just were independent, sovereign countries for hundreds of years, right after the fall of the Mongol Empire. Nobody could bother, and we were completely independent and completely efficient on our own.
The Mongolians are some of the most hospitable people in the world. But always the first thing you hear is the barking dog. Mongolian dogs are shaggy. They look more like lions than like dogs. And so the first thing you always yell in Mongolia, it's not hello, I'm coming, may I come in? It's hello, hold the dogs, hold the dogs.
Bahari is one of the first domesticated dogs, which is way before Genghis Khan, because it's 15,000 years ago. These days, very few bunkers are saved. The dog's main purpose is to protect livestock from natural predators. For example, gray wolf or snow leopard, red fox, or some species of eagles.
Okay.
The identity of who Mongolians are. Their spirit of who Mongolians should be, and who they used to be.
building cities, they're not building walls, and they're not doing the kind of craft work that people in sedentary civilizations do. So they have a whole different approach to the arts.
If you go to nomadic lifestyle, you will see that Mongolians like to sing. That's the only entertainment they have. They have to entertain each other. A couple of people living together, nothing around, no theaters around, no movie theaters around. They have to entertain each other. So they sing to each other. They appreciate each other singing.
Libat.
Long song in Mongolian they call it Porchingo. It is really important for Mongolians because
Oy, sawadee
they have
ka.
a religious aspect to it, and they have a lot of traditional elements to it. And the lyrics are all really poetry. But because they elongate their vowels, they call it long song. For Mongolians, music is not music in our Western concept. But in Mongolians, it's really the sound. So they go out and process this sound. But the place where they process the sound is with the animals. And the perception of the space, to how it's echoing. So these are not really singers. But they're
Are you from Thailand?
From 1696 onward, Mongolia then belonged to the Manchu Empire as a part of China. In the early 20th century, the Manchu Empire began to fall apart. Mongolia took that opportunity to revolt and to leave China. Different people were rising up. There were foreigners occupying many parts of the country.
Around 1921, a group of mercenaries invaded Mongolia, led by
I'm eating fish. You know what? I was in Thailand last
Some people
2017.
But basically was in rule for a while, sort of announcing the return of Genghis Khan almost. He was a weird mistake, but extraordinarily brutal.
Mongolia was teetering and looking for friends. They contacted the Americans, they contacted the British. Who wants to help us? The Mongolians were on their own. And Mongolia decided to go to Russia, the newly formed Bolshevik government, for help. And Stalin said, oh yeah, sure, fine, we'll make you part of the Soviet Union. And they were like, no, 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 we have to be an independent, autonomous area. So then they sent in the military and got rid of Baron von Ungern. At that time, they had very little infrastructure, and they began to form a military, and they named the leader of that military a guy named Sukbatar. Sukbatar was a patron of the Russians. When he came in, the political system gradually changed into a full communist system. He died early. So did many of the leaders die early, and some of them under suspicious circumstances. The person who was left standing was Marshal Troublesome. Troublesome did what the Russians told him to do. He suppressed the Buddhist faith. He initiated a purge in which monasteries were burned, Buddhist lamas, Buddhist priests were killed, thousands and thousands of them.
Just for being a Buddhist Lama, just for being Genghis Khan's descendants, just for being a hoarder sometimes.
When World War II came, the demands on the herders became extreme. Animals were confiscated left and right for the war effort.
Mongolia donated every bit of our animals, every bit of our resources, and land and people and monasteries and gold and silver and animals, horses. access everything to World War II.
When World War II ended, things did not improve. Troublesome then turned to consolidating the herders into rural communes.
They were more or less completely governed by Russia through this time. But eventually, the Soviets just, one day, they just pulled out. They could no longer financially maintain the infrastructure and maintain the governance in Mongolia.
They were at the tail end of the Soviet Empire, and when that empire collapsed, they faced economic calamity as well.
All of the support, all of the economic support that they had received from Russia was immediately cut.
There was no police, no fire, no infrastructure at all. It was a very, very poor, difficult time. And this was the time of the Democratic Revolution.
In December of 1989, a group of young people gathered and they began to demand democracy. No one quite knew what to do. Nothing like this had ever happened. And they went into Supporter Square, the main square, and the revolution just grew. More and more people came. It was totally peaceful.
And they decided to make Mongolia a democracy with the parliament, basically sort of like England, and that created a modern-day political structure.
Mongolia.
The first things the people did was they sang a song and prayed to Genghis Khan for ignoring him, prayed to him for forgiveness for everything that they had done wrong in the 20th century.
In today's Mongolia, you can see the name of Genghis Khan everywhere.
Aww.
But during communist time, nobody was allowed to say Genghis Khan's name.
So that's some kind of influence the Soviets done. They damaged morally us and they just eliminated our history. That's the influence of Soviets, and that's also the problem that we forgot our past.
After communism failed, suddenly we need ideas, ideologies, and inspirations and role models. And those new time role models were not ready yet. But then people start having inspirations from the old time role models. So the first role model comes from Genghis Khan. He gives inspiration to every range of people.
During that Genghis Khan time, we sang Ortinto long song da. And this song is, I think, the first step to be as opera singers.
In the 20th century, the Russians were brought in socialism, but they brought in many of the Western arts. And because the Mongolians could already sing so well, when they had these kind of talents, given emphasis then on the Soviets created what they call modern socialist culture, but it was very much rooted in Western culture. So opera singing, dramatic arts, dance, ballet.
Hello, hello. I'm from the Philippines. Please do like, share, and subscribe. I'm eating here. I'm eating fish and rice with my hands. And I'm watching documentaries for or from
We are Mongolians.
Mongolians.
So we people, wild
See?
country, wild horse, and the people we born here, and we born to sing, we born to dance.
Wow. I will go. Who are you? Like, who among you here are from Mongolia or been into Mongolia?
My time was, we graduated in Russia. We started in Russia, in Moscow, Kiev, and St. Petersburg. This time, new generation, we have own ballet dancers. We have own opera singers.
The major export of Mongolia really is their culture, the literature, the music, and the art. It's all world class.
Mongolia today is in the 21st century. A lot of things because of the legacies of the Mongolian Russian involvement. Depending on which generation you ask, I think in Mongolia you might hear different perspectives.
My father used to tell me, young girl, why don't you listen to the government and just obey and don't oppose it? So I would always say, I don't want unfree society for my children. I'm doing it for my children.
So there's a real gap between the generation that's still in control of Mongolia and the up-and-coming generation, which is very different.
Okay, I'm done eating. Doria, Doria.
The urbanization here in Mongolia is happening too fast. I left Mongolia in 2009 to study abroad. When I came back after 6 years, I couldn't recognize the southern part or the area of Ulaanbaatar. It was so different and I felt like I was in a foreign land. But the familiar look was still there in the Gare district. The divide between the rich and the poor has widened. It just only goes to show that it is happening too fast. There's one major city in Mongolia, Ulaanbaatar, the capital. A lot of the country's development and half its citizens live in UB here.
Population of Mongolia is 3 million, and half of the population is living in the city. The last 30 years, there have been about 600,000 herders moved to Ulaanbaatar, and Ulaanbaatar's population expanded very fast. In the 1990s, there were like so many harsh sort of winters are happening, and then thousands of families lost their only source of
Ay.
income.
Livestock will die.
Before you went to bed, you had like more than one house's livestock. But in the morning when you wake up, you lost all of them.
My
You had
God.
only one choice: to come back to the Ulaanbaatar, to find a job, to find the cows.
The town is reasonably small, but people live in tall buildings and they have all the electricity they need and they have running water and hot water and heat and elevators and internet and everything. But surrounding them were almost 1 million people living in gears. Heating with coal wherever they can find to burn, or with no running water, they have to haul it well-paved streets.
The gear is
Hello,
very efficient
hello,
structure
hello.
in terms of mobility. But in terms of energy efficiency, it's not very efficient, especially during the winter.
The biggest issue in Mongolia is the separation issue. It's not like North Korea, it's not hard. It's the Mongolians now learning to live as a community in a following same rules in the big cities like UP, and really respecting and being nice to one another.
I think the transition from being a herder to live in an urban area is very hard.
Nomadic people come to Ulaanbaatar and behave like nomads. So
People from the countryside, they tend to not know how to function in society. They also have a hard time engaging with people.
All of a sudden, this great nation of Mongolians who are known for being good, hospitable people are now this grumpy, angry people in the city.
I grew up in countryside, walking every directions, riding every directions, really without thinking about traffic or without thinking about other people. Because of this nomadic mindset, I didn't know traffic rules. too much. So it's a very strange paradox, you know, being very polite country person at the same time being treated as a rude person in Ulaanbaatar because I didn't know Ulaanbaatar rules.
We're here at a Gare district families Gare. We just met a single mom who also has a daughter with 3 children. Is also a single mom, and none of them are employed. The only source of income they have is the child money, which is around $8 a month, which is given from the government.
Hello. Yeah, it's my birthday on Monday, so yes, I'm open for what is this suggestion? What not to
The yard
do?
that the Gare is located in is not their own. They're taking care of this land for the owner who's recently moved into an apartment. So they don't get paid to take care of the yard, but in the winter they're given coal to keep themselves warm.
Hello. Oh, Michael, Malaysia. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I did not take shower even.
Most economically viable source of energy for most Mongolians is coal. Whether it's burning the power plants or whether it's powering people's coal stoves here in the Gare areas, Soviet-era stoves in many cases.
Thank you. Hey, Darren. Darren, we don't have any contact in WhatsApp, right?
In this valley where Ulaanbaatar sits, and that traps all of this coal smoke that accumulates. In the winter here, it's like being in the middle of a forest fire. It's worse than that because it's coal. It's these very fine, small particles. In the summertime, it really clears up significantly, and a lot of people forget about it. There's a study that found children living in the city center here have roughly half the lung function of children growing up in the countryside. So there's a massive public health impact here.
Yeah, I was watching Mongolia and what is this? Documentary, and they're so cute. No, no. Kids, no, I like to go there.
Citizens of Ulaanbaatar recognized the danger of the pollution just 2 years ago. One of the big television broadcasted a documentary about their pollution, and that winter is the first demonstration against pollution. It is the slogan which is written, "Let's destroy pollution."
I have friends who work in the development sector who talk about air pollution, which is connected to Gare District, but they've never been to the Gare District.
I want to change this apartment people's behavior toward the Gare District people. I want these people to understand each other and embrace their struggle.
Democracy in Mongolia is just 28 years old. Democracy is that young. People are just trying to discover and really explore or just play with it. And that's what's happening here in Mongolia.
6. All right. Oh, I got new person here. Hello, hello.
50 to 100 years
Santos,
feels lighter.
Valtinier Santos. From where are you, Valtinier?
We are quite idealistic in terms of how we see the future of Mongolia or how we could contribute to the development of Mongolia.
Especially youth that is filled with ambitions and aspirations and dreams to change the world, change the country.
Like if you see the young kids around here, none of them would know any words in Russian. They don't dress like Russian kids, and most of them dress like South Koreans or like Americans mostly.
In a period of rapid change, it brings up interesting cultural kinds of things. It brings up peoples of all kinds. And I think in Mongolia, it's played and then this Mongolian tradition, and then sort of this interplay that is taking place right now, that at that particular level, I think makes Mongolia really interesting.
No habla español.
This is a very awkward time for youth of Mongolia. The past and the modern times are colliding in one person. When you look at the IV drip packet, you see the face behind the IV drip packet, and it's all distorted. What distorts that is our modern way of living. It's like Facebook, Twitter, and alcohol.
I see vodka bottles.
To the people who became homeless and who picked up garbage, or people who came from the countryside, who came to the city, and then they lost their ways and became dependent on alcohol and became homeless vagrants. For a nomadic lifestyle, we tend to take our time, take our pace, and we're changing that with something that is really quick and fast, and that's really hard on Mongolians. We are moving away from our traditional life and going into a more Western style of lifestyle. That's what I want to portray. In return, that lifestyle does not help Mongolians at all.
Durian.
Horse is essential animal for nomads. But if you go to the countryside in Mongolia now, you will not see that man riding horse, but instead of a man riding some motorcycle imported from China. The horse loses its practical values. And when it loses practical values, it loses its micro values. And that things will be lost and forgotten.
Yeah, it's my birthday. I just shoot. Shout to the Lord, let the earth let us see.
These traditional values and integrate into modern. We will not live like the nomads in the 13th century or 14th century, but we would like to take some elements from them. The minimalism, anti-consumerism. Our ancestors respected the nature, and that idea is being forgotten.
We have lots of lessons to tell to the world and also lots of lessons to learn from the world. We will probably need lots of wisdoms from past, especially from Genghis Khan. That's why he's really connected to us now, because we are doing this transformation.
If you live a nomadic life, you see the life differently. You will respect the limitations we have. We have to leave something to next generation. We are not the best generation in the world. That's some kind of romantic way of thinking that has been in our country for more than 2,000 years.
See ya, see ya. Mary, time for 5 miles walk. Exercise, stay blessed. Good to see you again. Love your family vlogs. Have a good weekend. Thank you. Yeah, no worries. Me also, like yesterday, I never been into the gym. I killed myself by drinking too much alcohol. But at least I'm still on diet, so I'm not always eating. You know that. But I'd like to know you more, you know? Like, yeah, I hope you could reach me out by my phone. Sang patak, sang katutak. Hi, Darren. Like, let's say, Darren, I will make you as a moderator, add as moderator. I just wake up with a little bit headache, kind of vomiting, because I was drinking too much alcohol last night, going to sleep so late.
Constantly on the move, you're supposed to be driving, surviving in some of the world's most remote wildernesses. That's a little family in here. And living cheek by jowl with nature. It's always seemed a wildly romantic existence. It's the most magical place. But it's no easy life. It's the sort of cold that makes you feel physically sick. And in today's modern world, they're under increasing pressure. I'm going to live with 3 groups of nomads. In Siberia, Nepal, and now in Mongolia, with a family of herders who are adapting to the 21st century deep in the Gobi Desert.
Yeah.
Really, this is a way of life that is
So
very
what will you do? Like, hey, it's my birthday. Will you give me some present?
still dominated by the power of
Cash,
nature,
cash, cash.
as storms and predators constantly threaten their nomadic way of life. I can't stand here and say, don't kill that wolf. It's not my place to. Mongolia's wild and untamed Gobi is the largest desert in Asia. It just looks like the sort of bleakest, emptiest landscape, and the idea of living here and making a living here is hard to imagine. Yet it's been home to families of nomads for centuries. I'm on my way to stay with one of them. It's just going to be really eye-opening, I think, to discover this partnership between them and their livestock and this landscape that has allowed them to thrive for this long.
Who like to make me wear
The Mongolians nomads had checkered history. In 1924, the country fell under communist rule. For nearly 70 years, nomadism was banned and the herds were collectivized.
I was 19 when I left it.
Second, I saw her. I was kind of attracted to her.
Incredible young third of Mongolia's population chose to expand to
Talked for a little while for like a day or two. I asked her parents if she can come back to Manila with me, and they get nervous.
My first impression,
of
okay.
Mongolians are nomads. Once again, their way of life is under threat.
I've never seen a black
The country is going through an economic boom into the Three Beauties mountain range.
A lot of me in the building. Been friends ever since. I want to get his first impressions so that I can understand my son better. I want to do a
I want to know what's keeping you last year.
trying to get my son to come, but he's still kind of on the fence. He's on the fence.
Four times a year with the seasons.
Perfect. I don't see
And
why he
2.5
saw
thousand
how
meters above sea
issue.
level,
He's going to come up with a
this is
challenge.
their spring camp.
Just have a conversation with him, like heart to heart, and just get his opinion. I can understand the questions and concerns that your son has. I think a visit would help.
So, tried to come here. So what about you?
Kate,
What do you think about our relationship?
What's going on? Alright, can I be like honest? So, when we first met, I was like, this girlfriend is on. Just seemed like such an odd type of couple. So I was like, what's going on? And I'm thinking, is that his girlfriend or is that something else?
is 78 and the head of a large family. She has 10 children. The youngest daughter, Audrey, lives with her.
For
Can I have a look around? Will you show me around? Is that okay? Okay. What is happening? Audrey is married to Senko, and Chilid's youngest son, Batsok, is staying with them to help with the busy cashmere wool harvest. Oh, look at me. The family own an impressive 200 goats, 150 sheep, and over 100 yaks and horses. So these cashmere...
Why? Gonna be golden. Aww.
He's hungry. Just see some lovely black and brown and white dots on the hillside. Titty's done. And that's all the adults coming in. And so all these little ones are going to go and feed them. So it will get very noisy. The animals are like the family's bank account, their meat and milk providing food, and their wool an income. In Mongolia, they're key to nomadic success or failure. Are there many wolves in this area? Yeah? I'm not allowed any more goats at home. I haven't liked to make an exception. They all live in this communal tent known as a ger. It's their kitchen, living room, and bedroom. Has this always been your home? I'm comfortable there with the Chilid grew up during the communist era, working on a state farm with her husband, who died 2 years ago. Their return to nomadism in the 1990s revived a long heritage, and Chilid proudly displays her family's heirlooms in the roof of the ger. It's beautiful. Well, this is my wedding ring. This ring Chilid grew up during the communist era, working on a state farm with her husband, who died 2 years ago. Their return to nomadism in the 1990s revived a long heritage. And Chimit proudly displays her family's heirlooms in the roof of the Gare.
It's beautiful. Has this always been your home? Even though you're uncomfortable there, a little bit.
Chimit grew up during the communist era, working on a state farm with her husband, who died 2 years ago.
Aww.
Their return to nomadism in the 1990s revived a long heritage. And Chimit proudly displays her family's heirlooms in the roof of the Gare.
It's beautiful. Well, this is my wedding ring. This ring belonged to my husband's grandmother. And inside there is engraved the word 12th. And she was married on the 12th of September. My parents also got married on the 12th of September. And me and my husband got married on the 12th of September. So 3 generations got married on the same day. So it's very special. Yeah.
Life is fragile out here in the Gobi. It's vital to keep their animals safe, especially at this time with the newborns, like this gorgeous 2-day-old foal, the first of the year. If those family heirlooms remind them of their past, this new foal is a permanent symbol of their future. The film crew and I are camping a few hundred meters up the valley from the family.
Clearly this is a way of life that is very precious. And they're here with dignity. They're not living in abject poverty. There just seems to be a huge amount of a sort of, well, I think pride is the only word I can think of really in the way that they live here.
Just stepping into their lives and hoping that they might take you in, and that's a big ask, but it was just a really lovely, lovely start. Every morning begins with rounding up the animals. The relationship between man and beast is the bedrock of nomadism and goes back millennia. Jimmy and her family enjoy some of life's modern amenities too. The adult goats and sheep are separated from their young so they can graze on the surrounding mountains. The 4x4 was perfect for fetching water, but to follow the herd, nothing beats a horse.
This is the most extraordinary saddle. I feel very perched up, very upright and rather arrogant, but only when I'm standing still. So you want me to keep them ready for charge? Okay. Okay, yeah. Yeah. And feet forward. Right. If I can walk by the end of today, it'll be a miracle. Okay.
Mongolians are famed for their horsemanship, and like Ordner, most learn to ride from the age of 4. Back in the 12th century, it was horsepower that helped Mongol warlord Genghis Khan create one of the largest empires the world has ever known.
Horse is Yama, goat. 1, 2, 1.
Mas na-budget ang imong Christmas outfit sa Surf Instant Boutique in 2 minutes. Surf.
Usahay, lisod pangitao na usapan mga lugar. Manakong mga eskina, huway na mga balay, kanagtapat-tapat. Pero wala na kasulod ang numero. Nagsasana, eskinita, silyo, dead end, phase 1, phase 2, makasarap. Matalino. Solusyonan na. Kana sa pinakatuon na tindahan. Gusto kang maibaw as nagbuyo tumayo mo hilo?
Today, we're using horses to help keep alive the livestock and to protect them from predators, foxes, wolves, and snow leopards that roam these bleak mountains.
So Yama is goat, and I've got to put in English. So what is Yama? Yama. Goat, you see? Yeah, so we can picture each other. And on sheep.
Available for different.
Very good. And horse. So yeah, so I've had a little language lesson. Practically local. Right.
Ordner spends much of the day watching the flock, but also finds time to do her beautiful and intricate sewing.
Did Chimid teach you to sew? My God. Yeah. So do the men sew as well? Or your husband sew? Oh, yeah. Actually, my husband, he's better than me. He's good. He has a sewing machine.
So who looks after them when Darren's at home? Ordner's children, aged 15 and 13, only come home during holidays and for special occasions. So did you do the same? Under the old communist system, a strict education policy helped achieve one of the highest literacy rates in the world. It continues today, but to get an education, children must still go to their local towns and cities, and as those cities grow, young people are being drawn to the modern world and away from their nomadic culture. And your children, what were they? Do you know nomads?
Ja, ging met de koets. De jongens die had zo'n wat die allemaal vergeet staat. Zo dat was natuurlijk het leven dat gekozen dat maar van ons huis was het fantastisch. In Nova Malta gedoe. Ze hebben dat gedoe zo te doen dat het voor is maar te doen. Ik ze waren op de assist. Toen ze worden
Is that it?
I suppose what I'm gradually unpicking about this way of life is, Orna went to school, but she's chosen to live this life. No one's stopping anybody progressing, but I think they are aware that their knowledge is meaningful, that it does allow them to survive, and it allows them to live a life that they choose. They want to live this life. They have an option to be somewhere else, and yet they want to be here.
Today is a big occasion in the nomad's calendar. All of Chimid's sons, daughters and grandchildren come together.
Hi, Sheila. Sheila Hernani, hoy. Ikaw na, day? Kumusta? Ay, katulog ako.
First, it's the young stallions.
How often do your family all get together? When do you see everybody?
Next, the goats and lambs.
All the smoke around here, as far as I can gather, is almost like a sort of healing smoke. Again, very much part of this ceremony. It's a lot easier than a horse.
The quick blessing, the lamb's released. It may look harsh, but Batsok's doing it with real respect for his animals.
It's a nice passage.
The iron-rich testicle
chemicals are believed to have health-giving properties, but the real treat is to boil them in salted water with yellow rice to make a rich soup.
There's a lot here. I think I've got more than my share. So I can't eat. So these, you just do that, really? Now you've done it, I'm gonna have to do it. Mine's bigger than yours. This one, like that. Don't make me laugh. It'll be a disaster. Okay, ready? Oh no. Actually, that's quite good. It's not chewy at all. It's very soft and rather delicious. Oh my goodness, my poor little lads at home. We've got very fine testicles at the moment. I wasn't going to castrate them this year. No, you must be everyone else.
Today I'm going 15 kilometers down the valley to visit my sister, Surin. She and her husband Sandal are still in their winter quarters in a sheltered spot on the edge of the mountains. Tomorrow they're moving to their spring camp. Hi, Surin!
Yeah, in 2 minutes.
Like most nomads in the Gobi, Surin and Sandal move to the same spring camp every year. It's deep in the mountains, and at this time should be full of fresh grass. Looking around, there are animals everywhere. It must be quite hard finding them around here. It looks like they can go right up into the mountains. You must be very fit. Look at my cheeks. Yeah. You just can't my head. It's running up. Okay.
Whoa, no. Who is this?
With a busy day ahead, everyone's lending a hand. Surin's brother-in-law, Sarago, has brought his truck.
Uy, nako, nakabuhay. Tulugon ko, ah.
The Gare is an amazingly simple structure, with a canvas outer to protect against the wind and the rain, a warm felted sheep's wool liner, and a wooden frame to hold it all up. So what next? Isn't it funny? Men always have to cut the car. Always in the door watch. Last on the truck are the youngest animals that can't make the arduous journey on foot. That's so clever. That's just genius.
Bye-bye.